I must talk with you, Mr. Mayor.
Good afternoon. I'd like to bring the Corporate Services Committee meeting to order. Grimsby is situated on treaty land. The land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississauga of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The regional municipality of Niagara and Grimsby stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interests? Seeing none. Okay, I want an approval of the agenda, but before I do, I need to go through this, right? There's one addition to the agenda that will be heard after the consent report. It is the information technology verbal update from Philip, the Director of IT. Now, if I can get a mover and seconder to approve the agenda as amended. Councillor Howe, Mayor Jordan. Resolved that the Corporate Services Committee agenda of March 4th, 2024 be approved as amended. All in favor? All in favor? Carried. First item on the agenda, receipt of the previous minutes. Can I get a mover and seconder to receive the previous minutes of the Corporate Services Committee and the Grimsby Downtown BIA? Councillor Howe, Councillor Vardy. Resolved that the following minutes be received. Grimsby Downtown BIA Special Meeting, January 22nd, 2024. Grimsby Downtown BIA Special Meeting, February the 2nd, 2024. And Corporate Services Meeting of February the 5th, 2024. All in favor? Carried. There are no delegations. We have one. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the short-term rental bylaw and licensing program consent report? Councillor Howe, Mayor Jordan. Resolved that the Corporate Services Committee hereby approve the following item and the consent item be approved on the recommendation as contained herein.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, at this point, I'll open the floor for any discussion or questions. Councillor Howe.
If I can, through your chair. Henry, I guess you're out there by yourself. A couple of questions, if I can, and just so I better understand. I guess the root question is, do these bylaws work? Like, do other municipalities see that they work, that they, I'm not going to guess that they eliminate the problem completely, but is there improvements within the municipality? And I've got two other questions and we can do them all at one time. When it comes to this bylaw, and there is revenue suggested, and I believe other municipalities that becomes revenue, but does that revenue offset the cost of managing the program? And the last question is, in this ask or this work that we're going to assign, we talk about a fund for legal aid, but is that something that in fact we can do, or is it out of our bailiwick completely? So, but if I can, that's.
Henry.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So just to answer your first question there, so these bylaws do assist with curbing kind of the problem around short-term rentals with noise and or other safety concerns. This is just another tool in the tool belt for the enforcement staff to hold these property owners accountable to make sure that they are renting to responsible individuals. And then question 2 for the revenue offsetting the program. There is an initial cost to the program, so this will be further analyzed by our internal project team and brought forward in that Q3 report to council. But these programs do always have that initial cost, and then down the road, they do tend to pay for themselves. But we'll provide council with a further analyzation of those numbers at that Q3 report. And then the tenant legal fund, what it would look like. So that is another project for our internal project team. So that alone will be reviewed to make sure that we have the legality and the authorization to provide a fund like that or even to run a fund like that. So these are all on our radar just to make sure that we are doing everything right.
See, Mayor Jordan.
Thank you. Through you to Henry. I'm really glad that we're putting forward this short-term rental bylaw, because I know we've had a number of complaints, and I certainly had a number of complaints. And given the fact that I always want to give bylaw the proper teeth and the proper tools in the toolbox so you can actually do your job. And this is something that until we have this in, and I understand that there are upfront costs, but you have to do that to move forward, and to fix a problem, sometimes you have to put some money into it at the start to get that problem fixed and give you the tools. So I'm glad we're moving forward on that.
Any other questions? Comments? No? Okay. Resolved that the Corporate Services Committee hereby approve the following item and that the consent be approved by the recommendation as contained herein. Bylaw 24-01, that report. Bylaw 24-01, short-term rentals bylaw and licensing program information report dated March the 4th, 2024 be received for information. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the new item on the agenda, 7.2, the IT verbal update. Can we get Philip to take us through that?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to quickly notify committee that this morning there was an article published in Niagara This Week on cybersecurity that the town was asked to comment on. I provided my feedback and worked with Christina to answer all the questions that were given. I'll send that to committee and council later this morning. The inquiry stems from Hamilton's cyber attack. They've been down since, or mostly down, since February 25th. They've been impacted, and I say impacted because people think this is the final step. It usually isn't. There's usually a number of months that precede this where they've gained access, and then hackers a lot of times like to look around, and then at the end, when they've taken the value, then they'll encrypt the data and hold you for ransom. That's what I suspect. I don't know that for a fact. They're being very tight-lipped. And I would also suggest that it's probably going to be a phishing attempt that got them through. Again, I don't know that. Several of their systems have been impacted, including their phone system, their email system, websites, and many internal applications. I feel for them, wish them all the best. Just to give you an example of the environment we're dealing with in the cybersecurity world, the town systems block over 90% of the email that we receive. You don't even see it. So, hackers have to be right once. On our side, we have to be right 100% of the time. So I'll take any questions, but I will be forwarding that article later this morning.
Questions? Mayor Jordan?
Thank you. Through you to Philip. Yeah, just a little further anecdotal about the Hamilton. I have a friend of mine that was right in the end of the minor variance process, and they canceled the meeting because of this, and now they've said they haven't even given him a timeline, and he was all ready to get going on it, and it was going to be approved, he thought, and now he doesn't even have a timeline. So and he's just a small contractor, and I'm sure it affected them all. So and then just on a second note, I know I forwarded you that phishing attempt concerning the red light or not red light, but the speed cameras. And I did know from my education through that, through the steps that counselors had to take, there were a number of red flags that allowed me to see that it was a phishing attempt. And I think as council, we have to be vigilant of every email we do get.
Totally agree. Any other questions or comments? Do you want to respond to that, Philip?
Just a comment for committee's information. The town does conduct periodic phishing campaigns where we test our staff to see if they click on links or pictures or anything inappropriate. And then I get a report at the end of the campaign, usually lasts about 2 weeks, and I see, where we're vulnerable, and then I'll send out some training, video training, cybersecurity training. And when also when the town hires staff, it's part of the onboarding where they get basic cybersecurity training. I think it's 4 courses. But yeah, we're trying to be proactive because, again, they just have to be right once to get in. One click will be Hamilton number 2, and I don't want to be there.
Yeah, I think that our IT department, under your guidance, have done an absolutely tremendous job keeping cyber attacks away from Grimsby. This is the second time for Hamilton, isn't it? I mean, do I remember they had a high cyber attack there a couple of years ago as well? So what did they do? What are they doing wrong? Just a comment. You don't have to respond to it. But anyways, thank you for your diligence and keeping us clean and clear of all these cyber attacks and all the other things. Any other questions or comments? No? Can I get a mover and a seconder to receive the verbal update? Councillor Howe, Councillor Vardy. Resolve that the verbal update from the IT department be received. All in favor? Carried. We have no discussion reports, no correspondence. Are there any other business pertaining to the committee, of course? None. Thank you. The next corporate services meeting will be held on April the 2nd at 12 p.m. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.